Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, see ya.
Welcome back to another video. My name is Stephen Foster, and today we are talking about a different form of photography, a form of photography that I wasn't even actually thinking about until my friend Braden joined us for this past week. We've been hanging out, catching up, and talking about our different camera gear and Braden's hobby and passion of wingsuiting and base jumping and skydiving and all the other aerial things that you do.
Yeah.
So first of all, I want to thank you for coming and doing this, because this is super cool, man.
Yeah. Thank you for hosting me, and also, this is super fun.
Yeah, dude, right? Like, we just decided to do this, like, I don't know, a little bit ago, and this is completely unplanned, so whatever, it's going to be great. First off, I wanted to ask you to introduce yourself to my audience, because they may not know who you are. Tell them a little bit about yourself and how you got into this crazy hobby of, like, what do you even call this? Like skydiving, wingsuiting, base jumping?
Yeah.
What is there a collective term for all this?
Yeah, I mean, I would say skydiving.
Okay.
Or potentially I would say base jumping. And then as people dig in more, then, we might say, I fly a wingsuit, and there's the combination of wingsuit skydiving or wingsuit base jumping. So it gets a little muddy, but
since I know you're actually quite a humble dude, I should lead with this is Braden has taken or successfully done over 1,500 exits from an aircraft.
Yeah.
From an aircraft.
Yeah.
You've done over 200 base jumps.
Yeah.
And how many times have you gone under wingsuit canopy, or whatever it's called when you actually open wingsuit?
So the majority of my skydives are wingsuit jumps. So I would say I've probably done over 1,000 wingsuit jumps at this point, and out of the 1,500 skydives that I've done.
Okay.
I still do a lot of shooting video for people who go and jump tandem with an instructor.
Okay.
I'm an instructor myself,
Yep.
so I teach people how to skydive for the very first time.
Yep.
And so some of that is involved in that as well. But the majority of my jumps are wingsuit jumps.
Okay.
And
where can people go get skydiving lessons from you?
Oh, that's a great question. So, you can get skydiving lessons anywhere in the world. I personally teach mostly on the west coast of the United States. I'm up in Washington. I jump at a drop zone called Skydive Kapowsin. And I have another drop zone that's kind of a home drop zone that's called Skydive West Plains that I love a lot as well.
Okay.
But as I travel, I do coaching and instruction as the drop zones allow. We're all kind of part of a club that's called the United States Parachute Association.
Okay.
And my license allows me to teach basically at any drop zone across the U.S.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Super cool. To sort of wind back to the beginning days, I think when I first started hanging out with you and jumping with you, you probably, we figured, had somewhere between like 50 and 100 jumps.
Yeah, I think probably when you jumped with me, probably about 100 jumps.
Okay.
Yeah, so not very many.
Well, I jumped with you a couple times.
Yes, yeah.
We did it up in the central coast of California. We did it again in San Diego.
That's right.
That San Diego jump was like probably one of my favorite jumps of all time.
Yeah.
That was super cool. That was a rad jump.
San Diego's an incredible place.
Mexico and the United States all in view right there from that jump. It's such a cool thing.
Yeah.
So what made you get into that? What made you want to, because by the time I had met you, you were already like itching, like, man, I already got my first 100 jumps and I want to go do more.
Yeah, definitely. So I kind of actually fell into it.
Pun intended?
Well, yeah, totally not intended. I didn't really get into it like with the intention of being a skydiver. I hadn't dreamed of being a skydiver all of my life or anything like that. I mean, there were some moments as a child where I saw skydiving happen. My dad and I used to go to the Long Beach Grand Prix every year, and there was almost always a skydiver that would jump in and land on the racetrack. So, you know, there's that in the back of my mind. Okay. But I actually kind of just fell into it because I was looking for a job during college. Okay. And I walked into an airport looking for any job on the airport that I might be able to do because I thought aviation was interesting. Yeah. There was a drop zone, and I asked them if they had anything that they might be able to, you know, let me do for a little bit of money as I was going to school. They asked me if I could fold laundry. I said yes, and they taught me how to pack a parachute.
That's cool.
And after about 1,000 pack jobs, I was put on a plane, and they threw me out of it, and that's all she wrote.
Was that the first time? So you packed 1,000 chutes before you made your first jump?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know the exact number that I packed, but there, probably about 1,000 parachutes before I ever jumped, yeah.
Okay, so you have a really intimate knowledge. Is it actually as easy as folding laundry, packing a parachute?
Yes, there are a few things you have to do. Most of the things that
a little higher stakes than just laundry.
Yeah. There's a few things you have to do, and then most of the things that we tell you to do when we're teaching you are just to make it easy and to make it fit nicely. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Now, looking back, because that was almost a decade ago now, or basically over a decade ago now, I think. Because we've known each other for, I think, more than a decade now, which is wild to think about. You weren't posting any of this content anywhere, at least that I was aware of. I think Instagram had just started being a thing. Yeah. We were just still like in our young early 20s, and now you've grown your following on Instagram to 177,000 followers, which is awesome. Like, Thanks. It's wild, but there's like over 100,000 people, close to 200,000 people watching you jump out of planes every day, basically.
It is pretty wild. It is a strange feeling.
Did you plan that?
I didn't really plan it. There is a deliberate kind of line on my Instagram profile where you'll see it because I've left all of the old stuff there. But there's kind of a deliberate decision that I made to kind of really focus that on skydiving. Mm-hmm. And
what year was that?
I don't know. I'd have to go back and look. Probably
roughly
maybe 3 years ago, something like that. I decided that Instagram was just going to be skydiving content.
Cool.
And I was going to keep my personal stuff kind of on my Facebook account and other social media profiles.
Sure. Yeah.
But because Instagram is so public, I just thought, okay, this is the place where I'm going to focus on skydiving and kind of put that out there. And if people want to go see it, that's where they'll go to watch it.
So you get into skydiving. Over the last 3 years, you've been building a following, publishing content around this hobby, really profession actually too, because you do this as a job as well on top of your full-time job as a software engineer, which is mind-blowing to me. I'm like, I gotta focus on one thing. But when you started capturing all this, what was the first camera that you rigged up on a jump?
The first camera that I would have had on a jump would have been my GoPro Hero 2.
Oh my gosh.
In the plastic housing, waterproof housing.
Okay.
Kind of a big burly thing. Yeah. That would have been the first camera that I would have jumped with.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And I would have done that probably right around 200 or 250 jumps.
Okay. Yeah. Okay.
It's actually an interesting topic of like when you're skydiving, adding a camera to your helmet adds a lot of complexity because first of all, there's interactions with the air. Yeah. There's more things to focus on.
Yep.
Even with a GoPro where you're pretty much just like, okay, click, is it on? Mm-hmm. You know, it's a big thing to like add to your routine to always make sure that it's on.
Sure.
And when we're in the plane about to jump, we really want to make sure that we're focusing on the safety aspects of what we're about to do and not adding that extra kind of
there are more important things than making sure the GoPro is rolling.
Exactly.
Because you want to make sure you land on the ground in one piece.
Exactly. Yeah. And then in addition to that, when the parachute's opening, that camera on the top of your head is a snag point for the lines. And so if you catch one of your lines and wrap it around the camera, that can be a dangerous situation. So so that's why I bring up that jump number that, I really waited until I had about probably a little over 200 jumps to get started.
Yeah.
And that's a safety recommendation that the USPA requires
Okay.
at this point. I don't think it did necessarily have that recommendation
When you were
I
doing
started.
it. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely with the evolution of social media. I could see why more and more people would want to
Yes.
do like what you're doing and then think, I could just go do that if I take all the courses and training. But
Definitely.
yeah, it takes time. As
Yeah.
someone who's jumped multiple times but nowhere near as many as you, like, I'm like, I still don't feel comfortable up there. Like, it would take, hundreds of times.
Definitely.
You have your helmets here, actually.
I do,
And
yeah.
so this is your primary sort of like attachment vehicle for your cameras.
This is. So this is the first one that I'll show you. Basically, this helmet is a helmet that's made by a company that's called Tunfly. And it's a full face skydiving helmet.
Mm-hmm.
It's impact rated, which means if I hit the plane or another skydiver or I have a bad landing, this will actually do something to protect my head.
That's nice.
Yeah, most other skydiving helmets are not impact rated. They're basically glorified camera mounts.
Got it. Okay.
But this one is, so it's really nice.
Okay.
This is the helmet that I wear primarily when I'm flying my wingsuit.
I think in the intro, people probably saw you wearing this helmet.
Yeah,
Okay.
you'll see this helmet. For the most part, I just have the regular GoPro sticky mount on the top of this one.
Okay.
And I put a GoPro on it. This is the GoPro Hero Max.
Yeah.
And then
Which is a 360 camera.
which is a 360-degree camera, which I really like for wingsuiting because I can stabilize it really well.
Sure.
And I can get things that I'm not necessarily focusing on
Yeah.
that are happening around me.
Yeah.
I fly in big groups of wingsuiters.
Yeah.
Sometimes we have 16 people on our jump. And so there's people above me and on the sides, and I like to be able to capture all of that,
Makes sense.
which is nice.
Yeah. When we saw that when in the intro video where you're kind of shooting the sequence where this team of wingsuiters are moving in between each other in like a sort of lattice formation, or I guess
Yeah.
like threading the needle. Like that particular shot, you don't want to be thinking about like, is my head framing the shot correctly?
Right.
You're just like, I need something that's going to capture that.
Right, exactly. When I'm inside the formation,
Yeah.
this is a better helmet and camera to fly because it's
Got
not as large. Nobody's gonna knock it off my head. Hopefully, it works better. However, when I'm filming or taking photos of tandem students,
Okay.
or if I'm outside the formation, I'll fly a camera that's more, or a helmet that's more like this.
Yes.
So this is made by a company that's called Bonehead, and you
Great
can see it's a much larger platform for holding cameras.
Okay.
And it's got a lot of extra trinkets on it as well.
Yeah, take us through Trinket Town.
Yeah. So I'll start with the cameras
Yep.
because I think that's the primary focus of
Yeah.
your channel. So I usually jump with just a GoPro Hero style camera
Okay.
on the front.
Okay.
This is what I shoot video with.
Okay.
Then on the top is where I shoot my stills.
Yeah.
There are GoPros that allow you to get stills in video,
Yeah.
but then you're decreasing the quality, which I don't want to do.
Sure.
And also the stills from a larger camera are going to be higher quality.
What camera, I was going to say, do you have mounted up there?
So the one that I use is the Sony Alpha 6000.
Okay.
And this is probably one of the more common skydiving
Okay.
cameras for people who are shooting stills.
Yep.
The compact size is helpful. When you're opening a parachute, you're pulling multiple G's. It can be kind of a whiplash type thing on your neck, and having a smaller camera is helpful.
Yeah, having 6 pounds pulling your head back doesn't sound fun.
Exactly. There are people who shoot with larger cameras.
Okay, yeah.
My buddy Nico has Alpha 7.
Okay, yeah, A7, yeah.
Or A7.
Yeah.
And so he shoots with that. He gets much better photos than I do.
Okay.
But, for me and what I do, this works.
And the lens on there is, I believe it's a 16 to 50, and it is a crop sensor. Let's actually check that out. Yeah, 16 to 50. So I think full frame equivalent is probably somewhere between like a 24 to 70. I'll flash something on the screen what that actual conversion is. But you probably most of the time leave it as wide open as possible when you're shooting.
Pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, I do, when I'm setting up the camera, because the weather changes pretty frequently in the Pacific Northwest, I do have to change the settings pretty much for every jump.
Okay.
And so on my way up in the airplane, I'm sticking this thing out the window, and I am changing the settings to, adjust for the light and
light
compensate
metering,
for
all that stuff. Yeah.
Exactly.
Wow.
It's a lot of work.
So you're holding out the window of the airplane.
Well, pointing it out the window.
Pointing it out. That's
yeah,
hilarious. There's a shot that if I haven't shown it already, I'll make sure that it's or I'll pull it up here again, of you wearing this rig,
Yeah.
hanging out of an airplane.
Yeah.
And that was the first time when it really started clicking for me that you were up there, not just like strapping a GoPro to your head and not thinking about it,
Yeah.
but that you were actually being really intentional about how you were doing these shots, that you wanted to take it to the next level. And then that's
Definitely.
watching you grow now on Instagram over the last several years. It's like very clear that work has paid off.
Yeah, thanks.
But it was like seeing it up close was like, whoa, yeah, he's done some work over here.
Definitely. Yeah, definitely.
Talk about the like sort of like key piece with this stills, because I originally thought, okay, he's maybe going up there and hitting the shutter button, but
Or it's on a timer or something like that, right?
I mean, you're, I guess, like doing like intervalometer type stuff, but you have a completely different setup.
I do. Well, there's a couple things that help me shoot photos that are built into this helmet.
Yeah.
One thing is, with these cameras on the top of the helmet the way that they are, and the helmet doesn't fit perfectly in the same spot every time that I put it on, I need a way to sight the picture.
Okay.
And so I don't know if you can see this in the helmet, but right here I have this thing that's called a ring sight. And that ring sight actually has a little cross in it that tells me where I'm pointing the camera. So it's calibrated to...
but this is all analog.
It's all analog, yeah. So I set it up beforehand.
Yeah.
I sight in the picture with this all the way zoomed in as far as I can go. And then I know basically where it's pointing. And I can, sight the picture and
cool.
shoot. Yeah,
That's
it's super helpful.
Yeah.
The other thing is, just like you were talking about, I need a way to actually shoot the photo.
Sure.
And because so much of my flying happens with my hands, whether that be actually moving my arms in order to maneuver, or reaching out to interact with the tandem student, or something like that, I need a way to take the picture without pushing the shutter button.
Yeah.
This little tube right here, while it looks like I might be drinking beer or water on the way down, I'm not actually. It's part of what's called a blow switch. And so this tube is just an air tube. It goes to a little box that's built into the helmet. And that little box has two little metal discs in it that when I blow, those discs make contact and allow electricity to flow through and trigger the shutter on the camera.
Okay. And so where do you get an accessory like this for like a Sony camera?
Yeah, that accessory is custom made actually by a skydiver. His name is Trunk.
Okay.
And
does he have like a store I can link down below for anyone, or is it like totally?
I don't
you have
know.
to know a guy that knows about that.
I don't know if he specifically has a store.
Okay.
But there are skydiving gear stores online that will sell this product.
We'll try to link it down below if we can find it.
Yeah. If anybody's interested, I'm sure he would be glad to have the business and sales.
Yeah. Wow.
Shooting Star is probably where I got mine.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's super wild. And you don't have to do like any special firmware on the camera for that. It's like just talking to the shutter control.
No, you don't. It plugs right into the multi-port.
Yeah.
And
just
you're
works.
good to go. It just works. Yeah. There's no extra batteries or anything like that. It just all runs straight off the camera.
A lot of analog tech, like between the sighting in and like dialing that in, and then just blowing and then completing that circuit where you don't need batteries or anything like chips to do anything.
No.
That's actually pretty wild.
It's great. It's great. And the reduced complexity means I don't have to worry about so many batteries and things
you don't
being
have to charge
charged.
a battery.
I already have two that I have to keep charged for every jump. So
Yeah.
that's something to deal with. So having additional accessories that need power would be, just a little bit hard. I also have altimeters, I have GPS units.
Yep.
There's like just a massive number of accessories that I jump with all the time.
Yeah.
That I need to keep charged. So reducing that as much as possible is helpful.
That is wild. Okay. Final question I have for you is, where do you see all of this going for you? Like, is there a next purchase, or have you really topped out the gear in this portfolio for what you do?
Oh, that's a great question. If I were a better photographer, like actual core photographer, I'd probably tell you the lenses that I wanted and the cameras that I wanted to upgrade to. There's certainly things that I would love to play with.
Yeah.
Certainly like higher quality video cameras and things like that.
You want to jump with a red strapped to your head?
Oh, it'd be great. Yeah, and we have played with that a little bit. But it's not really an everyday kind of camera
Yeah.
to jump with. If something happens and it does fall off of your head, it's a really sad day.
Yeah, that's a $10,000 mistake if it's
Exactly.
just like the low end red. Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, but definitely, higher quality glass would be
Yeah.
nice. As far as the components that I'm using that are skydiving specific, I don't
Yeah.
think there's much I would change.
Okay.
But yeah, higher quality camera, higher quality lens.
All
It'd be
right.
fun.
Sick. Well, thanks, Braden, for stopping by the studio. Thanks for staying with me for this past week.
Absolutely.
It's been,
Thank you
a
for hosting
blast.
me.
Yeah. I want to say thank you to all of you. You guys are the reason why I get to have this channel and do all this awesome stuff. So thank you so much for watching. Subscribe to this channel if you have yet to. There's going to be plenty more cool stuff. Maybe we'll even get up into a plane with Braden at some points. Be kind both in life and in your comments below, and like this video to send good vibes across the internet. Send good vibes to Braden, and we'll do it again soon. Later.
Thanks.